Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I want to share a personal story with you, a journey that truly changed my health and my outlook on life. A few months ago, I was sitting in my doctor's office for a routine checkup. I felt fine, mostly, a little tired, maybe, but I figured that was just part of getting older. But then my doctor turned to his computer screen, looked at my lab results, and then looked at me with a serious expression. He told me my cholesterol numbers were too high. Specifically, my LDL, the bad cholesterol, was in a range that put my heart health at risk. That moment was a genuine wake-up call. It's one thing to hear about cholesterol on the news, but it's another thing entirely to be told that your numbers are a problem. I knew I had a choice. I could ignore it, or I could take action. I decided to take action. I wanted to see what I could achieve with food first. My doctor and I agreed on a plan. I would make specific, consistent changes to my diet for 3 months, and then we would test again. Today, I want to share with you the 3 simple foods I started eating every single day and how that journey led to my cholesterol dropping by an incredible 40 points. Before we go any further, I must stress this is my personal story. My results were amazing, but everyone is different. It is so important that you speak with your doctor or a qualified healthcare professional before making any significant changes to your diet, especially when dealing with a health condition like high cholesterol. Before I tell you about the foods, it's helpful to quickly understand what we're dealing with. My doctor explained it to me in a way that finally made sense. Think of cholesterol as a type of fat that travels through your blood. Your body needs some cholesterol to build healthy cells, but too much of the wrong kind can cause problems. There are 2 main players. First, there's LDL, which stands for low-density lipoprotein. You can think of this as the lousy or litterbug cholesterol. When you have too much LDL, it can build up on the walls of your arteries, forming hard deposits called plaque. Over time, this plaque can narrow your arteries, making it harder for blood to flow. Then there's HDL, which stands for high-density lipoprotein. You can think of this as the helpful or hero cholesterol. HDL acts like a cleanup crew. It travels through your bloodstream, picks up excess LDL cholesterol, and carries it back to the liver where it's broken down and removed from the body. The goal, therefore, is to lower the LDL number and ideally raise the HDL number. The foods I'm about to share with you are scientifically proven to help do exactly that. The very first change I made was to my breakfast. I used to grab whatever was quick, often just a piece of toast with jam or a sweet pastry. I replaced that with a simple, warm bowl of oatmeal, or as we call it here in Austria, Haferflocken. It might sound boring to some, but it quickly became a comforting ritual, and it was the cornerstone of my new plan. I made it a non-negotiable part of my morning. Every single day started with oatmeal. I learned to make it delicious without adding sugar. I would cook it with water or a splash of low-fat milk and then top it with some fresh berries for sweetness and a sprinkle of cinnamon. It was filling, it was warm, and it kept me satisfied all morning long, preventing me from reaching for unhealthy mid-morning snacks. This simple change alone was a huge step, but it's the science behind it that is truly impressive. What is your go-to healthy breakfast? I'd love to read your ideas and maybe get some new inspiration in the comments below. So why is this simple breakfast cereal so powerful? The secret weapon in oatmeal is a specific type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Here's how it works, as my dietitian explained it to me. Imagine this beta-glucan fiber as a sticky, gel-like sponge moving through your digestive tract. As it travels, it does 2 remarkable things. First, It binds directly to cholesterol-rich bile acids. Your body then has to pull more cholesterol out of your bloodstream to make new bile acids, effectively lowering your circulating cholesterol levels. Second, this sticky gel traps some of the cholesterol you've eaten, preventing it from ever being absorbed into your bloodstream in the first place. It literally carries the bad stuff right out of your body. Study after study has confirmed this effect. Research consistently shows that consuming just 3 grams of beta-glucan per day, the amount in about 1.5 cups of cooked oatmeal, can lower LDL cholesterol by 5 to 10%. It's one of the most well-documented food-based interventions for cholesterol management. My second daily food was for my afternoon snack. Around 3 p.m., I used to feel a slump and would often reach for a biscuit or a piece of cake. I replaced this habit with a measured handful of raw, unsalted almonds. Now, this is where I had to bust a myth in my own mind. I always thought that to lower cholesterol, I had to avoid fatty foods. The idea of eating nuts, which are high in fat, seemed completely wrong. But this is a perfect example of how not all fats are created equal. The key was portion control. I didn't sit with an open bag. I measured out a single serving, which is about 23 almonds, or a small handful. This became my go-to snack. It was crunchy, satisfying, and gave me a much more stable form of energy than my old sugary snacks did. It completely prevented that afternoon energy crash and kept me full until dinner. So let's look at the science of why almonds are so good for heart health. Almonds are rich in monounsaturated fats. These are good fats that have been shown to lower LDL cholesterol and have the added benefit of helping to raise your HDL, or good cholesterol. They help the cleanup crew do its job better. But that's not all. Almonds also contain compounds called plant sterols. These substances have a structure that is very similar to your body's cholesterol. Because of this similarity, they compete with cholesterol for absorption in your digestive system. Think of it like this. There are only a certain number of taxis available to take cholesterol from your gut into your bloodstream. The plant sterols jump in and take up most of the seats, leaving much of the dietary cholesterol waiting on the curb where it eventually gets escorted out of the body. This powerful 1-2 punch of healthy fats and plant sterols makes almonds a fantastic cholesterol-lowering food. Dozens of studies support this, showing that a daily handful of almonds can significantly impact LDL levels. My third and final daily addition was perhaps the most surprising to me in terms of its versatility. Beans. I committed to including a serving of beans, lentils, or chickpeas in my diet every single day. This was easier than it sounds. Many people think of beans as being complicated or just for chili, but I discovered a world of possibilities. One day I would add a scoop of chickpeas to my lunchtime salad. The next, I might have a hearty lentil soup for dinner. I even learned to make a simple black bean mash to spread on whole grain toast instead of butter. I kept my pantry stocked with a variety of canned beans, kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, which made it incredibly easy. A common mistake is to think that canned beans are unhealthy. As long as you choose the low-sodium versions and give them a good rinse under water, they are just as nutritious as dried beans that you cook yourself. Just like oats, beans are another absolute champion of soluble fiber. This fiber works in the exact same sticky sponge way, binding to cholesterol and removing it from your body. But beans have an additional benefit. They are also packed with protein. This combination of fiber and protein is what makes beans so incredibly satisfying. They slow down digestion, which helps to regulate blood sugar and keeps you feeling full and satisfied for a long time. This was a huge benefit for me. By adding beans to my main meal, I found I was less likely to snack on unhealthy things later in the evening. The research on beans is undeniable. A major analysis of multiple clinical trials, published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, found that eating just one serving of beans, peas, lentils, or chickpeas per day could lower LDL cholesterol by about 5%. It might not sound like much on its own, but when you combine it with the power of oats and almonds, the effects really start to add up. So, how did this all look in a typical day? It was surprisingly simple and delicious. Breakfast: a bowl of oatmeal cooked with water, topped with a handful of fresh blueberries. Lunch: a large salad filled with leafy greens, colorful vegetables, and a generous scoop of chickpeas, dressed with a little olive oil and lemon juice. Afternoon snack: a measured handful of raw, unsalted almonds. Dinner: a piece of grilled chicken or fish with a side of steamed vegetables and a half cup of black beans. As you can see, I didn't starve myself. I didn't eat bland, boring food. I simply made 3 strategic additions and focused on whole, unprocessed foods for the rest of my meals. I crowded out the bad stuff by adding in more of the good stuff. It felt sustainable, and most importantly, it felt good. After 3 months of this consistent routine, I went back to my doctor for my follow-up appointment. I was nervous, but also hopeful. My doctor pulled up my new lab results, looked at them, and then a big smile spread across his face. He showed me the screen. My LDL cholesterol had dropped by 40 points. It was now well within the healthy range. My HDL, the good cholesterol, had even gone up a little. I was ecstatic. It was proof that these simple, conscious choices had made a profound, measurable difference in my health. It wasn't a magic pill. It was the consistent, daily power of oats, almonds, and beans. If my story resonates with you, I encourage you to see it as a story of hope. It shows that we have incredible power over our own health. Your first step doesn't have to be a massive overhaul. Just pick one thing. Maybe you'll start with a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast. Master that, and then add the next thing. I would love to hear which of these 3 foods seems easiest for you to add to your day. Let me know in the comments below. Your journey starts with a single step. If you found this story helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on living a healthy, active life. And please, one last time, remember to always speak with your doctor before making dietary changes to address a health condition. They are your best partner on your health journey. Thank you for listening, and here's to your health.